a new column in any given sheet, you just select on the column name and right click and select insert. Then it opens a new column and push out all the other parts to the right by one column. Then you can put some new information in there. And you can also delete any given cell, the columns altogether. So for example, let's say we don't need this column anymore. Then once again select on the column name and right click and choose delete at this moment. Then it deletes the whole columns and push back all the remaining parts to the left by one column. And you can also apply this one to make or insert many columns at a time. So the meaning is excuse me, let's say we need 2 columns in this place. Then all you need is to select these 2 columns together and right click, choose insert. Then it makes 2 new columns in that position, right, and push all the old ones to the right by 2 columns. Okay, you can apply the same rule to delete unnecessary columns altogether. Of course, you can select separate one like this, and actually you can delete all of them by one click. Okay? But let's just say we want to delete these 2 columns. Then select both and right click, select delete. Then you can remove that one. We apply same rule to make new rows and delete rows. So let's say we want to add new items in this place. So it's going to be the 4th one. Then we want to make new row at here, right? So select row number 7 and right click and choose insert. Will give us another new row here. Okay. And let's, of course, you can delete too. So right click on there and choose delete. You remove that rows. But let's practice a little bit more here. Okay, let's make new row here and put this new item. Says, how about pens? And the quantity is 100 of them. And the unit cost is, let's say, 20 cents. Then we need to calculate according to this decision for values and bets and totals here. So all we need is just apply same rule on these cells. So just to copy and paste by using just autofill. So these are the calculations. But the problem here is when you check this total, it only calculates from D4 to D6. It doesn't include this new information. The reason is, in the previously, the total, actually the formula in this cell covers these 3 cell informations, and our new row is after that. So it doesn't affect to this formula in this cell. But if we add this new row in the middle of this, then this cell understand we add one more row here and automatically add all of them. So slight difference over here. So whenever you put new column or row at the end of your kind of data like that, then be careful about this kind of formulas in the total cells. So at this moment, to include this new information, you have to change this one to 7. There are 2 ways you can type in, right? Or just simply dragging this box that much, right? Then it's changed to D4 to D7. It covers everything. Okay, then we can apply the same rule for this one and that. So we can just simply just dragging this. Okay, let's move some rows. for some reason, sometimes we want to change the position of rows, and we can apply same rule for the columns. So let's say we want to place these manuals before the paper. So the meaning is we want to exchange the position of this manual and papers. If you try to do by yourself, it really takes a lot of work for that. But in Excel, we have really nice features like just click on the names of that row, which should be replaced to someplace else, and right click and simply just cut. Then it just cut out the whole row by that, and go to the place that we want to place that one, right? So like number 5. So over here, right click, then you can choose just insert cut cells in that position. So choose this one. Then can you see that it's kind of replacing, exchange the position of this 5th row and 6th row by that. And another good thing about that one is this exchange happens within the given selected cells for the formula of these totals. So you don't need to touch anything on these formulas in the cell. And once again, you can apply the same method for exchanging the columns here. Now, sometimes our data is too long or too big, and when you print out this worksheet, it's just too big, so you need a lot of pages to print out all of them. And it turns out that we don't need to show all the information, especially when you print out, or sometimes when you see in here. So it's going to be very helpful if you can hide some information which is unnecessary. So for example, let's say for your report, you want to show just the value from value to total. We don't need to show quantity and unit cost. Then you can hide it, these two columns. So select these two columns and right click, and one of the choice is hide. So when you select that, can you see that there are a little bit darker lines between A and D, and it only shows the last 3 columns only. And because of this jump on these letters, we can assume there is hidden columns which will be B and C. So when you can apply same thing here. So let me just show that. How about hiding this number 5 and 6? Then select that 2 rows and right click and hide. Then the numbers are changed, right? So it's not 5, 6, 7, it's just 4 to 7. So we can assume there are 2 rows are hidden here, 5 and 6. And that hidden part, usually we have a little bit darker lines, okay? But just this jumping on the numbers or letters is going to be the good evidence that we have a hidden columns or rows. Okay, if you want to unhide that hidden parts, all you need is to select surrounding columns or rows and right click and choose unhide. Then it will show you that information. Same thing here. Select 4 and 7 and select right click and select unhide. It will show the original information. Okay, let's go to the next worksheet, which is titled Music. And a lot of times we want to show certain rows or columns no matter where you are. So for example, if you go down a B8 by moving the sliders and place that cell at the top left corner of it, then we lose that the title parts and these names of this each row, so we don't know what we are talking about. So let's go back to the original position. So let's assume we want to show these informations, okay, and that one too. So the meaning is B4 is the one that's starting whole data. but the previous columns and rows is kind of titles and headers of each of these. So somehow you want to keep that information in our worksheet no matter where you go. And there is an easy way to setting that way. Go to View, Ribbon, and next one is Window, and there is one choice of Freeze Panes. Okay. So one of the choice of this Freeze Panes is Freeze Pane. Okay. So select this and look at the shape of it. Okay. You just select the corner, top left corner of movable space. So before that it's gonna be frozen like that. So let's select it. Then it produces new lines starting from that, right? Then no matter where you go, actually you can see these parts, right? So of course be careful about the size of your title and everything. So it's gonna be disappear like that, so be careful. But anyway, this is how we set. Some parts will be always shown. Okay. And if you want to go back, then same thing, go to View and Window, Freeze Panes. Then at this moment the title of that button is Unfreeze Panes because it knows we freeze certain parts, right? So select it, then it's going to be disappear like that. And the other choice here is freeze top row and freeze first column because it knows that way, right? So you can just choose that style. So for example, after you choose B4 and select and this one, then it doesn't freeze these rows, it's only freeze the column, the first column. So you can see the first column always, no matter where you go. Okay, and of course let's unfreeze that one, and you can do the same thing for the row too. Okay, so select that, then no matter where it is, it just freeze the first row, and you can see that one many times. So at this moment, this two is only for the top row, the first row, or the first column only. Okay, no matter where you select the cells, right? But this one freeze row and column together, and it includes as many as rows and the columns of your choice. Okay, so let's just unfreeze this at this moment.